Dr. Boutros-Ghali, thank you for being with us here today. You're the chair of the IMF's Policy Steering Committee, the International Monetary and Financial Committee, which has just wrapped up its meeting here in Washington, D.C. How do governors feel about the economic recovery at this point in time?
Look, they want to believe that we're back on track. They're realistic. All they can say with certainty is that the worst is behind us. However, we still have a ways to go. We still have obstacles to face. Things will not be smooth. We will move gradually up. They won't be smooth. But we're on our way. One thing they noticed is that the recovery is uneven. It is not the same everywhere. Southeast Asia, they've taken off. They've recovered, they're back, they're healthy, they're withdrawing their stimulus packages, they're moving along. Industrial countries, less so. There are still weaknesses in the banking system that need to be addressed. Not major disasters, but things that need to be taken care of. There are still issues of sovereign default, sovereign stress.
And certainly the Greek case was very much on people's minds.
Very much so. Small country, big problem.
Yeah.
A problem that could mushroom into things that are much more dramatic. We're dealing with it, but it's a surprise. And we know there can be other surprises coming along the road. The only thing we know for sure is that the worst is behind us.
What did the ministers see as sort of the main challenges, apart from sort of what is going on in Greece? What did they see as the main challenges for the world economy?
Addressing unemployment. We can have growth, but we're not guaranteed to be able to reduce unemployment. And that is the most pressing issue. For emerging market economies, poverty. The crisis translated in unemployment in industrial countries, it translated into massive poverty in developing countries and emerging markets. 65 million people are going to be added to the ranks of the poor, 18 million of them in Africa. These are big numbers, and these need to be addressed quickly. That's the main worry, that the growth is at the beginning jobless and stays that way. Or if it does decrease unemployment, it does so very slowly, which is not bearable for many peoples.
There's been a lot of calls to rebalance the global economy. How do you see the role of the G20 in this regard? How optimistic are you that the G20 will be able to make a good contribution towards achieving this goal?
Look, the G20 gives you the forum for discussion. It gives you the vehicle by which countries express their opinions of each other to each other. It gives you also access to their leadership. They've met twice last year. They're going to meet twice this year. So it keeps the leadership engaged. And it keeps the major countries of the planet talking to each other around the same table, exchanging notes, anxieties, and that is always a good thing. It helps. Even if they don't do anything jointly, if they don't come to agreement, the very fact of their sitting around the table and disagreeing, I'm not saying even agreeing, disagreeing is healthy. And it helps us, small countries, who don't get to sit at the table and who don't get to sort of move and shake markets, but who get affected by anything that happens in international markets.
As you discovered during the financial crisis.
As we discovered at our expense during the financial crisis, yes.
Yeah. What do you think governance reform is going to mean for the relationship between developing, emerging market and advanced countries in the IMF?
There'll be more ownership of the process by emerging market and developing countries, and therefore more engagement, more response. They will feel that they own a part of the institution, that they are participants in its management. And therefore, I suspect they will respond better. They will require more of the institution, obviously, for it to respond better to their needs. But when the institution will step in with advice, with assistance, etc., I think they will get a better response.
How do you see the evolving relationship between the G20 and the IMF?
healthy give and take. The G20 offers the political cover, the link with the leadership. The day-to-day political management of the institution should be left to the governors, to the IMFC. But it is always helpful if your major shareholders get together and agree on something. It makes things easier. And when they don't get, when they can't agree on something, it's always helpful that they can call on their leaders who have greater leadership, greater vision than us ministers, and therefore can get things done faster. I think it is the G20 is here to stay, and it is, to my mind, a positive addition to the functioning of international institutions such as the IMF.
Dr. Boutros-Ghali, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.